Well, the thing that everybody doesn't know is that we are often naked together in the mornings.
That's true.
Via selfie. Andy and I take our ugly selfies in the morning and send them to each other very often. So this is nothing new to us.
Except for you have makeup on, and
I have makeup
my hair's
on.
done, and I have my glasses on. So
there. So.
Oh, wow. Well, Cheri, have I got the genitals for you?
If you've got an itch, Andy Vargo will scratch it. Welcome to Scrutiny with Cheri and Andy. I'm Cheri Hardman. This is my good friend,
Andy Vargo.
Yeah, and we are here to talk about all things with our own special brand of scrutiny. How are you today?
I'm good. I tell you, it's been a rough week, but I'm pulling out of it and getting things together. So.
Oh, good. Good. I'm glad you're getting it all together.
I just went to walk out to my car, and I walked out of where I was and half a block down and realized that my car was right in front of the building.
Oh.
I had to walk back to it.
I thought
That's how my week has been.
I thought you were going to say you left it somewhere else, so it could have been worse, right?
True. I see you got the cheetah print going on. That's nice.
I do got that going on. Well, you know, this morning we went to the river, and we left early enough that I knew it was going to get warmer, so we layered. So I knew that if I got too hot, I could take that off and wear this. So
what did you do at the river? For those who don't know what you do.
I go there to write my comedy stuff. So I took one of my new bits and just pulled it apart and went line by line. Like, does this line need to stay or can it go? And Is there something like funny I could stick in here? And I think I made it a little bit better. So we'll see.
I can't wait to hear it.
Yeah. What do you got going on coming up? Anything?
I've been a little swamped with some stuff, so I've been getting caught up on that, and I've had to actually kind of reanalyze some procedures in my life to make time to be a more effective human, if that makes sense. So I've been kind of doing the deep dive this week and kind of making life more doable, I guess, if that makes sense. You know how you get too much going on and then you get to an overload and then it's like, okay, this isn't working. I got to clear the desk and start over. And so
figure out what's got to go and what needs to stay.
Yeah. And I'm kind of trying to figure that out now, but I'm excited about the show we have on Monday at the Odd Otter that Bubble Wrap is featuring or producing.
Yeah. I know. I'm excited too. We got some really good comedians on the show. It's a really nice little intimate venue. It's going to be a good time.
And you've got some stuff going on this weekend before that. You've got a stretch coming up here.
Well, it's not as big of a stretch as it was because my Saturday show got canceled. But tomorrow I'm going to be in Kaiser, Oregon. I see it often, Kaiser/Salem, so Salem general area, doing a show there with my good friend Ken Hamlet. And let's see. Oh, no. Oh, that's next week. Whew. I looked at my calendar like, oh, no, I'm supposed to be somewhere tonight, but that's next week. That scared me.
You're like,
so, yeah, I'll be in Oregon tomorrow and then back here for our show at Odd Otter on Monday. I got some stuff coming up next week, but, between now and the show. Then I close out the open mic on Wednesday at Tacoma Comedy Club. And I'll be closing out the mic at Bob's next Thursday night. So Bob's Jaw the Jive. So I got some stuff coming up. Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
Excuse me. I'm sorry. You're not boring me.
No.
That was just
as you know, we just got back from the ocean.
Yeah.
Had a really nice, it was a really nice restful trip. It was. At first we were having a little difficulty with trying to figure out like how much time are we spending just by ourselves, how much time with my mom, how much time with our friends. And then we kind of felt like we were hurting everybody's feelings.
Yeah.
You know, they're like
everybody wants to see you, but you're on vacation, so you want some time alone.
Yeah, and it was just like we didn't, you know, nobody, yeah, we had no idea what we were doing down there. We just went and then tried to figure. So by the last day, we had it all figured out. I think we left all relationships on a good note. So came home smiling and happy. So yeah.
That's awesome. What does this button say that you're wearing?
It says men aren't funny.
Oh, I don't know if I should be hurt by that or not.
Are you going to say not all men? Not all men. Well, you know, women aren't funny all the time.
Sure.
We hear it all the time, and it really shapes us. So I would like to hurt a few men's feelings.
I see.
I mean, just so they can see what does that feel like when people are constantly telling you that women aren't funny.
I think that's a good point, because, you know, people make in any realm, but, you know, we hear it a lot in comedy. People make very generalized statements, and you'll hear people say a certain type of person isn't pretty, you know, a certain, maybe a certain ethnicity or a certain size or whatever. Like, oh, those people aren't pretty, or those people aren't funny, or whatever it is, or certain people aren't smart. And that's really closed-minded, but it also really hurts feelings of a lot of people. And I think that people need to be more aware. So
yeah, and it's really, I mean, this is a long-standing belief. I mean, Jerry Lewis said it back in the day, and Norm Macdonald says it. I mean, there are a lot of famous male comedians that still to this day say women aren't funny. So this is kind of like a protest to that. It's you can get these and T-shirts that say that at I think it's KJ Whitehead is the person that, but just look up women aren't funny and you'll find it. So it's just kind of a point I'm trying to make right now, because I have been amassing show flyers for a while now. And after show photos of just show after show after show with 4 dudes, 5 dudes, and no women, and it's starting to irritate the out of me. So I don't know, just kind of keeping track. And that's kind of part of what I wanted to talk about today is representation in media, specifically of women.
All right. I'm looking forward to that.
What do you want to talk about today? What's your deal?
I want to talk about if people are really available for you to have relationships with, and whether that's dating or friendship or whatever, but how do you really gauge and tell if someone is in a space where they're really ready to enter your life? Because I keep tripping up on that, and I think I need to do a little dive into that and figure out what am I missing in the vetting process.
Gotcha.
So.
All right.
So.
What do you want to start with? Let's start with my thing. I think.
Yeah, we already started going there.
End of the show. So there is a Netflix documentary called This Changes Everything right now, like new.
Okay.
And it talks about in Hollywood, in movie making, the small percentage of movies that are made by women or for women. And, you know, like I can't condense the whole movie.
And this is a documentary, you said? It's
a documentary, and it's got some actresses that you would know in it. But what's interesting is that they you know, I'm not going to throw any statistics out because I wasn't taking notes when I watched it. But basically what they talk about is they give the money to men to make men movies. And so it's not that there's not women filmmakers out there, it's that they're not getting the backing to make movies that women are interested in.
They don't have the chance to make a big budget movie, therefore they naturally don't make as big of a hit because they didn't have the chance to start.
But when they do make a really big hit, which there have been quite a few, Then the phrase, this changes everything, like women got really excited. Now I'm dumb because I can't even remember what movie they were talking about specifically. Big blow up, like a woman, wins the Oscar for best director or producer or whatever. And then everybody's like, all the women are like, okay, this is going to change everything.
Mm-hmm.
And then that woman still can't get a movie backed after that. And it just goes through, through Amazon, they were able to do this thing where they logged like how many women were in movies and how many men and how many lines women had and how, and it's, the statistics are staggering. And they're just talking about the reach of that, not as like, it's not only that it's not fair, but it's also like little girls grow up all the time with no representation of themselves to follow. And as especially like any kind of minority of any type, not that women are minorities, but I'm sure you didn't really see any positive gay role models when you were a young kid watching TV.
No.
I never saw any fat person represented that wasn't the butt of a joke or somebody's old fat aunt, like Aunt B or something. There was never just like, the
sexy fat woman who was the cool person in the crowd.
Never.
Yeah.
And it really, they talk about how it really actually affects children at a really young age and how they view themselves about their body and their life in a lot of different ways. We have comments, so I'm stopping to look. I just said old fat aunt. Okay, let me do this.
Well, while you look, I'm going to make a point about your button, because I was thinking about how it's kind of, I don't want to say self-fulfilling, but it perpetuates it when you are told something isn't going to be a thing. Like when you're told women aren't funny, when you're told that there's not a place for funny women, then what happens is it discourages women from trying to be funny. So then become less women trying comedy, and then by default there are less women who are in comedy that have done it as long or are as practiced, and by that rule are not represented as funny. And so then it's harder to find women who are funny that are working the talent because they've been so discouraged to even get into it. And at that point, it's not because women aren't funny by design, it's because there hasn't been an encouraging place for them to work the craft.
Right. And I think, of course, probably every comedian thinks this, but I would say arguably for the level of talent that I have, I am way underbooked. And compared to some men that are in the scene that are not as funny, but they get booked more. And there's a lot involved in that. We've talked about that before. And, how much fun are you to hang out with, or how many butts can you get in seats, or et cetera, et cetera. But there really is a lot of truth to it. And a lot of women are really frustrated by it. And in turn, just starting their own all women shows, or all, let's just say, not straight white men shows, let's just include everybody who's not the status quo. And it doesn't mean I don't love my straight white men, because I do. I'm married to one, but something really has to change. And I wanted to play one little clip, because we're going back to not really talking about comedy, but talking about representation. There's a clip of a show that has always stuck with me. And part of it stuck with me because my dad laughed at it and kind of pointed at me when this happened in the show. And of course, if he's watching this, he's going to get mad or deny that, but whatever. It happened, it's true. And this is not like, but I just want to play something for you that this is an example of what I'm talking about. Okay. So I'm going to share my screen and my sound.
Awesome. You know how to do it right. I always mess that up.
And here we go. It's going to happen real quick. So.
Yeah, buddy.
She good looking?
I heard she's a lot of fun.
She's fat.
She's got a great personality.
She's fat with glasses.
So just a little throwaway line like that, like that was the most undesirable thing that Richie could have thought of to go on a date with, would be someone who's fat, especially someone who's fat with glasses. And as a young, early teenager who was fat with glasses, that was such a crushing thing to hear.
Yeah.
It was such a crushing thing to hear. And it always stuck with me, even, 40 years later, 50 years later, however long, that stuck with me. And so I just think of all the other little girls that are sitting out there, or the gay little boys or the gay little girls sitting out there not seeing themselves represented in movies and TV and stuff. And I think it really matters.
Well, and there's a couple different levels there too, right? Because there's lack of representation, and then there's also degradation. And
negative representation, right?
Yeah, and like what we just saw is even worse than not even being represented. It's making it a bad thing to even be in that place. So it's that's really hurtful.
And the other thing is, and I think I've talked about this before, maybe even the last week or the week before, when we talked about male frontal nudity, the Bechdel test. I finally looked it up. BECHTEL. It's a rating system that they have for a movie, developed by women, I think. And all it has to be is, for a movie to pass it, is that there has to be at least 2 women in the movie. They have to have a conversation about something that is not a man. And there are a lot of movies that don't pass this test. And then there are some that pass it marginally because 2 women are talking about a lipstick or something. But sometimes it's interesting to look that up and see which movies pass or don't pass it. I mean, that's a pretty low bar.
Is it because they never talk about it, or just how often they talk about it in the during the movie?
Talk about what? No, if they want the point is that women are just in movies to talk about, oh, he's so cute, or like they don't have a meaty role. They're not talking about their lives. They're talking about
the guy own storyline aside from the guy. I gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. So that's pretty interesting. And then go ahead.
So how did, like, when you talk about the show, like this is going to change everything, how do we encourage or support that change to happen where it needs to happen?
Well, they did some stuff in Hollywood itself where they were able, whether they were able and how much it had changed, that it's really a matter of, God, I wish I would have watched this movie again before I got on here today. Really a matter of making it almost like discriminatory to not offer as many, backing of movies and movie roles to women as it is to men.
Mm-hmm.
So that's part of it.
Seems like a good step.
Right. And, really, if you book comedy shows, for example, make sure that there's always at least 1 woman on your lineup. It's not that hard to find one. There are plenty of nights I sit here without being booked. It's kind of my goal with bubble wrap comedy to have a maximum of 1 straight white man per show. Because
you have a good variety all the time.
Yeah.
But I also like that you're not excluding anybody and saying, well, I'm not going to book any of this. Because that's one thing that always kind of makes me feel like the pendulum swings. And if we swing too far one way or the other, then we're taking it from a mindset of excluding rather than including. And so to be able to say, hey, there's a place for one thing or a certain amount of it, but I want to make sure I keep this as diverse as possible.
Right. Well, I thought about going just strictly no white men, but I know some straight white men that are pretty freaking funny and pretty good friends of mine, and I want to book them on shows too. So,
and I think
one at a time though.
And I think there's a time and place to also celebrate any particular group and say, this show is all women's show, and this show is all, whatever you're choosing to define things by for that particular show. But, we just finished up Pride Month here in Tacoma, so it'd be appropriate to do an all LGBT Pride type show or whatever it could be. Celebrating any one particular thing is a lot different too.
You know who's really good at that is Dante Barnett.
Mm.
He's going to be hosting our show on Monday, but you know, he does showcases all the time where it's all mixed and misidentified, like all people who are of mixed races. Or
Okay.
I'm doing the beginning of August, I'm doing a walk, Women Are Funny, PH, you know.
Oh, funny.
He does shows with people with disabilities. I mean, he really like tries to include as many different groups as he can. Like he's really, I really want to support him in that. So there's that. And then to get a little less serious, let me just say, I came home from Ocean Shores and I watched 6 hours of television last night. I had to get caught up on my housewives.
And how are they?
Oh, they're fine, but you know, we're still struggling with Erica Jane because she says she doesn't know anything about her husband and that this and that, but
Are they teasing you with evidence or?
no, but I just don't feel she's a very guarded person. First of all, she speaks in a guarded tone. It's always measured. She's not all loosey-goosey like you know how I am, like, well, words just fall out of my mouth. She's not like that. And so she's very careful about how she speaks, which makes her seem insincere, maybe. And so, yeah, I don't know. But there's no new information. It's just information we already know, and then we watch it as it seeps out on TV and unfolds.
Gotcha.
But I also watch Below Deck Mediterranean.
Is that about a cruise line or something?
It's a yacht line.
Okay.
And so people come and they go on the yachts, but it's really about the crew that works below deck.
Oh, gotcha. It's
and
like
there's
Downton
always
Abbey
these
or something, or
yeah, and there's always these like romances. You know, you've got like the crew that works out on the deck, you know, and then you got the crew that works on the inside, like with waiting and hostessing and housekeeping, and then you have a chef. And this particular season, I'm really pissed off because all the girls are really cute and every single one of the guys is ugly. Now,
so yeah, so I guess, and that's, I would be disappointed too, because I would like to see some hot guys on the show.
Well, and that's the kind of show it is. You're watching it for the eye candy. And Bravo is, okay, it's a primarily female channel. So first of all, a lot of times Bravo drops the ball because all weekend long they'll play Fast and Furious movies. No woman really gives a shit about Fast and Furious, except for if they think Vin Diesel is hot, which I don't. So could it be that if you were to watch Below Deck, would you think some of those guys were cute? Yeah, probably. For my particular taste, they're all dogs. And I don't mean that, Nick. I know that's not very nice to say, but we're watching it for the eye candy. It would be like Mr. America, and then you have a bunch of just ugly guys up there. You know, these old women are all really cute. Actually, one of them was Miss Something. So, I mean, they're good-looking women, and I just find that.
So why do you think they do that?
They probably have a man, what do you call it? Not booking, but
hiring or
casting the people, I'm guessing. Because, yeah, it's not what I want to see. And so it's like the whole, you know, you like it because the deck, usually they take their shirts off. You know, it's exciting. It's fun to watch. There's bathing suits. They're on a freaking ship, you know. And, yeah, I don't care. These guys keep their shirts on this season.
Well, I know that we've talked about that before, where there's the the ugly guy can get the hot gal, but the hot gal or the ugly gal can't ever get the hot guy. And I think that's kind of what this sounds like. Like, why isn't there a balance of both? Give some some ugly chicks
Yeah.
a chance to get
Some
on deck.
average looking people and some attractive looking people. And
Yeah,
I mean, looks aren't everything, but when you're watching Below Deck, it matters. So I think I'm going to tweet about this later and maybe.
So do you think they should have less attractive women or more attractive men, or?
I don't know, throw a dog in on each side and make the rest of them pretty. I know, see, I'm using old-fashioned terms like dog, but I just mean, you know, like traditionally attractive. I don't watch my words that closely.
So
I know everybody knows what I mean. So
did you keep watching then, or did you give up on it?
I watched 4 hours of it in a row. So, I mean, I watch it for other things, you know, like the rich people are usually hilariously disgusting.
Oh.
You know, they're either drunker than skunks, and I mean to an unattractive degree, or they're snobs, or they're just over the top. You know, they get mad about little stuff. It's fun. It's kind of like watching The Housewives, just watching people living that life that we don't live, and maybe not handling it that well, and makes you feel like, oh, well, if I was rich, I would never act like that, you know, so you can feel superior. I don't know. It's fun.
I'll have to check it out sometime.
Yeah, I'm sure you won't. He's like, cute guys with no shirts. Oh, yeah, I'm all over it. No.
Well, I know we don't always have the same type, so.
They're probably going to say, oh, they're all cute. I don't know.
I'd be like, what is Cheri talking about? I'm going to Google that.
Do it.
Is it on Netflix?
Below Deck Mediterranean. It's on Bravo.
Oh, I don't have Bravo, I don't believe. I have Netflix and I have Amazon Prime. I'll look and see if I can find it. I'm sure there's some YouTube videos.
Let's look up the cast. Let's show the picture and let's just see.
Oh, here we go.
Okay, here they are. Let me make it big. Of course, these are going to be like the most flattering pictures of them, probably. Oh, okay. I can't get it any bigger than this. That's what he said. But I'll still share. All right.
That's also what he said.
Okay, can you see this? So
yeah.
This is Captain Sandy.
Okay.
She's a woman, obviously.
Okay, where are the ugly guys?
Okay, hang on. Look how pretty this girl is.
Uh-huh.
Look how pretty she is. Look how pretty she is. Look how pretty she is. Okay, look at this. Look at this troll.
He looks kind of average, but he's not bad.
Look at this guy. He has a mustache almost as bad as yours.
I kind of thought he was my first choice.
Ugh. And this one's the only one that's maybe passably cute, but and then
okay.
How can you have like a black guy that's not attractive? I mean, come on. Like most black guys are attractive. So,
I have to say that I was expecting a bigger discrepancy here.
Yeah, see, you have horrible taste in men.
Oh.
All right. Well, I want to know if anybody else is with me on that.
What I'm saying. I would go on that cruise.
Would you really?
Mm-hmm.
Well, it could just be me. I don't know.
I don't know.
I'd like some other people to weigh in. Let me know if they think those guys are cute or not.
We're gonna have to help.
But that's really. I just really needed to rant and rave about that because I really felt that it was a.
I was expecting much different than what you just showed.
Ugh. No, like I would bring my vibrator and just stay in my room by myself if it was me.
Oh my God.
All right. Okay. Tara says she would pass. Those dudes are average at best. Thank you.
Okay, well.
I knew I loved that girl for a reason.
Everybody has different tastes.
Okay. All right.
All right.
I think I'm done.
You done rant over?
Rant is over.
All right. I hope you feel better.
I really don't know because first of all, I was expecting you to say, oh, they were ugly, but then knowing you, no, I should know better than that. But nothing has been resolved. That's why I don't feel better.
Okay.
You know, I just let some stuff out, but I know nothing is going to change.
And that's hard in life when especially when we're talking about some of these big things like the movie industry or things that are just larger than what are outside of our sphere of control, is that we want resolution and we feel better when things are resolved, but there are some things that we won't be able to resolve in our own space and time or within our own ability to make change. And so then we have to look and say, well, what will make me feel good? Like, you're producing shows, you can empower the people that you can hire and control that. So that's going to make you feel good. It's not going to change the whole industry. However, I think we have to find ways to find some sort of contentment in knowing that we're doing at least what we can do. And if we can do what we can do while we work to make others aware to do the same thing, then over time, that's where the big changes will happen. But we might not see those for years because it takes a long time to make a big change.
And sometimes I am actually really glad that I didn't have any daughters, because I would feel so sad that I wasn't able to make the changes in the world that I would like for a daughter to see. So
yeah, you want them to have a world that you can picture, and if you can't give it to them, then it's better not to put them into that space, I guess. Yeah, that's understandable.
All right, so tell me your issue.
I keep running into this, like, I've talked to some dudes, I've gone on a couple dates and all these things, and it's really hard to understand when somebody is actually available. And when I mean available, I don't just mean like they're not in a relationship or whatever, but are they emotionally ready? Are they, people portray themselves as if they are, but then as you get to know them, there's just strings attached. And I guess I'm trying to figure out what are the flags that I'm missing. And so I don't know where I'm going with it, other than just I'll give you an example. I talked to this one guy. We hit it off really well in person, and went on a non-date because I didn't know yet if he was gay or not. So I call it a non-date. And it was just totally just having drinks, had a couple drinks, hung out. But after my last non-date experience, I figured I'm going to cut to the chase. And I just said, do you date guys or women? And he said he mostly dates women. And then he ended up saying something like, but we have really good chemistry and I'm leaving doors open and blah, blah, blah. So I'm like, okay. And then by, later, it's like he acted like he wasn't even at all ever interested in guys, me aside. And so part of me is like, okay, you go figure out your sexuality and then let's talk. And it's not even so much about, I don't have a problem being friends with people who are, I'm always happy to talk to people who are figuring things out, because I've been there, I get it, I've gone through it. However, don't come at me and flirt and use this playful banter and then backpedal. Like, that just gets frustrating. And so I feel like for me, that's one of the things I've learned is I need to put up bigger boundaries around people's availability, and until they are fully ready to be available. And whether it's something like that situation or someone who is kind of getting divorced or going through a breakup, and even though they say it's months ago, you realize when you start talking to them that there's a lot of emotional. I think we talked about that a little while ago when you had said if someone's talking about their ex too much, like on the first date, that's kind of a sign that they're not ready. And it's like, what are those signs, and how can you see them sooner? And like, this was one night, it was one date, it was a couple hours, so it's not like I invested weeks or anything. So I feel like that's probably progress. That's a good thing that it was, I'm not like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I wasted weeks on this person. However, it's still frustrating. But
you also went on a non-date with someone that you still don't really know whether he was gay or not, right?
Yeah, I need to readdress that one. I need to reach back out to him
Well, no, so I'm just thinking, why are you just attracting guys that don't know what they're doing, or you don't know? I mean,
yeah.
Why is it also wishy-washy, iffy? Like, you're definitely doing something that's attracting that.
Yes, that's
It
true.
might be that you yourself don't really know if you want to be in a relationship or not. So you're kind of wishy-washy. And so you're attracting wishy-washy.
I hate when you're right. No, that could be very true. And
I'm just saying, you know, but
and, you
that's
know,
a common thing with people that are dating.
yeah, that's true. And you know, when I took my strengths finder, we talked about that last week with Tara. You know, a couple of my top ones were positivity, connecting, and winning over others. And I feel like, you know, that really attracts people who are looking for positivity and looking for a connection, even if they don't really want a long-term connection. They're just looking for some sort of, you know, connection.
Right.
And so because I tend to offer that just even conversationally or however, then it becomes, okay, well, I got that out of my system by talking to you for a couple hours or whatever. And anyway, so I don't know, but that's a good point.
Tara says maybe novelty mustache attracts novelty gays. I don't know about that.
Novelty, not quite gays.
Yeah. Practice.
I did trim it up for you. I don't know if you noticed, but it's a little bit.
I don't know. I was kind of thinking that a minute ago. I was like, oh yeah, because the last time I looked at you, you kind of had some strays going on. It looks much more neater.
I tidied it up because it was bothering me, and it was starting to look like a pincher bug on the ends.
Yeah.
That was driving me crazy. So I was like, learn how to do this. So anyway, so that's kind of my thing this week. And part of my thing is that, you know, I've been in a place where I've been kind of just barely getting by with a lot of activity just in day-to-day stuff. And so there isn't time or energy to add in a relationship. And so as soon as I start to connect with somebody, then it actually becomes stressful to think about it becoming a relationship. So I think that you are right in that I probably am giving off that vibe of, hey, I'm not really ready for this. So,
Well, and and like I said, I think that's common. I mean, I know when I was single, and, you know, I was single for a long time, I wasn't really sure if I wanted to be I was pretty sure I did not want to be in a relationship. You know, I wanted to like have sex with somebody was mostly it. But, you know, then when I guess you just attract what you put out. That's all that's it. And we know that already.
Well, it's just like the law of attraction stuff. You've got to be putting out the positive vibes to get the positive return. And if you are putting out the desperate vibes, you're going to get the desperate return. And, and I did, you know, I went through this week, I made some changes. I deleted all of the dating profiles I was on. Well, I didn't delete the profiles. I just took all the apps off my phone. So, and I kind of gave up that as an avenue because I hadn't been on there for a long time. And even during COVID, I didn't get online until kind of the very end. And it was just one of those where it's like, if I'm going to try to meet anybody, since places are closed, I'm going to have to do it online. And I had pretty much given up being online. And now that things are open up again, I thought, okay, now I've fallen back into this rut of being on there and I just got to get rid of that. And,
you know, and I don't like that because then you don't have as much time for me and it really upsets me. I want you to be happy. I'm just kidding. But, you know.
Well, I was talking to my therapist about this week about, you know, I don't think I want a relationship, but then I also wonder, am I just telling myself that so I feel happy without one when deep down, you know, like, I don't know. Like, I'm happy with my life the way it is, but then I have this energy where I always want to connect with people. So I have to figure out how to maintain that and dial that in the right way.
Or if you want to connect, what is it about being in a relationship that you don't find attractive, that you don't want?
Well, you know what? I have a plan for, I can picture the rest of my life. Like, I can picture where my business will go. I can picture what I'm going to be doing in 5 years when I go on my road trip. I can picture the place I want to be living. I can picture everything around my life, but I can't picture anybody in it. And I think that I have a hard time being able to tell if that is something I could fold into it or not. but I also was in a very unhealthy relationship for a very long time. And so I have a very hard time putting myself in a vulnerable situation where I have to trust that that I'll be okay with that. And so I feel like, you know what? I don't want to go down that road again. So I would rather just be alone than risk being in a painful place.
Right.
So
why don't you picture being in a relationship with somebody who just fits right into your life and is non-threatening, easy to get along with, and trustworthy.
Yeah. And see, I like that idea. And I think this is what, when I was thinking about that and having this conversation the other day, I thought, then my only fear is I don't want to live in that world of hope of like creating this desire where you're just longing for something.
Well, you don't do that. You just, this is what you, of course, this is the way I did it. Was like, I set my intention of what I wanted. I wanted a man that would treat me like my stepdad treated my mom, right?
Yeah.
And then I just said to myself, every social invitation that I get that I can make, I'm going to go to, because the more people I meet, the more chances I will have of meeting my person. But I'm not going to go with the thought of meeting my person. I'm just going to go to have a good time with my friends and then let it happen on its own. And then you just drop that expectation and you just go live your life.
There you go. And that's what, yeah, I would like to say I'm doing that, but I'm not quite yet. But
well, you'll get there when you're really ready. If you're just not really ready, then don't be ready and just keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah, there's that. Anyway, so that's my headspace in a nutshell. Been a weird place this week with a few things, but it's that is life, right? You
for sure.
You run.
Well, you know me. One day I am happy as a clam, and then the next day I hate everybody. So we all have our ups and downs, right?
Yeah. Well, it's like we run as fast as we can, and we pick up speed and momentum, and it feels great, and you can feel the wind in your hair, and then you trip and fall, and then you're like, okay, now I got to pull myself up. I lost my momentum, and you see the crowd passing you up as you are regathering yourself. And not to mention how many people did you take down along the way. And now you've got to go back and do that damage control. And so the problem comes in when we pile guilt on top of it. And then all of a sudden it's, okay, well, now I didn't get this person, I didn't get the baton passed to them, or I tripped this person along the way. And then it's, that adds to the fact that you're still on the ground. And then that makes it heavier to get up. And at some point you just got to get up and start walking, and eventually you'll get back to a run again. But that's life.
All right.
So next week we're gonna have some fun stuff. I'm excited.
I know. I'm excited to see you on Monday. I'm excited to see the comedians that we have. They're funny.
Jesse and Mary Lou and Dante.
And this one, you and I are not gonna. Like I might go up there and just start the show off, but we're not going to do any time because we just need to make sure that the logistics of the room are all going to work.
Right.
At least I am, and you, the venue, and me, the crowd, and we'll just oversee and take any notes that we need to know for the next time. This is our practice one, but we've got some good comedians, and so. Yeah, we'll be all ready for the next one where we are going to perform. And
with Gabriel Rutledge, I'm so excited about that.
Yeah. So come support. We're definitely down to do 2, and then we'll see if people are showing up, and then we'll keep going. So I'm supposed to be checking out some other rooms, but I've sent emails and texts, and nobody's answered me. So I guess I got to go in person to check things out.
Yeah,
so I might have some other rooms.
I think there's going to be a crowd. So.
Well, good. I was going to say something. I forgot what it was.
And good luck in Kaiser.
Oh yeah, it'll be fun. That's always. I haven't been there particularly, but I always have fun down in Oregon. The other thing is that maybe next week we can talk about phobias.
Oh, I would love that.
I've got some driving phobias and I'm really struggling with it right now. You know, I could go to a show that I have in Idaho and have my room covered and everything, but that would mean I would have to drive by myself. And I'm really freaking out about it and thinking that I need to bring my husband and pay $200 a night for a hotel room because I don't want to drive to Idaho. So, yeah, I'd like to discuss that next week. So, if you got phobias that you want to talk about, let us know. Oh, and next week we might have Todd Royce. He keeps saying next week, next week, next week. We'll see.
We'll have Todd Royce at some point as soon as his little famous schedule allows. And I'm going to do some little research on some of the biggest phobias people have. And so we can bring that to the table. But we'd love to hear what our audience's phobias are.
Right.
And maybe there's some unique ones. What are the most rare phobias?
Yeah, that'll be interesting. I know some people who have some weird ones, so we can talk about that. If you have any show ideas, you can email us at scrutinywithandyandcheri@gmail.com. But I haven't checked that email in a couple weeks. So,
And yes, it's all one word.
it's not all one word. It's all one email address.
Okay.
But picking on it.
Scrutiny with Cheri.
It wouldn't, I couldn't just do scrutiny. So
I'm going to count the letters in that one of these days.
do it. Do it. All right. Well, it's as always, it's good to see you, my dear.
You too.
And
keep wearing your button.
Oh, I'm gonna.
Change.
I can't wait to. I'll probably place bets on who's the first person who's going to actually get really mad about it. But I just want to say hey to Tara for being our most faithful viewer.
And
She really
Jack.
helped me. She helped me a lot with my logo today.
Awesome.
And so
Can't wait to see it.
All right. Well,
We'll see you all later.
bye.
Bye-bye.